If you've stopped drinking or some other type of addiction, but you still feel empty inside, I'm going to share with you the missing piece that no one else is talking about. So let's get right into this. So when you white knuckle sobriety, like you just say, okay, I'm going to stop drinking, I'm going to stop doing drugs, I'm going to stop overeating, whatever it is, and you don't actually address the root cause of that on a deep level, then what you're left with is a void. You're left with the void that that addiction took up mentally, physically, spiritually. You're left with a nervous system that is going haywire, just screaming for something to regulate it. And you're left with a deep spiritual sense of dissonance because you physically are sober, but that doesn't mean necessarily that you're fulfilled or you're emotionally or spiritually well. That is exactly why so many people quit drinking, but then they start another addiction. Then they're addicted to shopping or drinking 18 diet sodas a day or gambling because they didn't do anything to address that deep gaping hole in the soul that really was driving them to do all of these addictive behaviors in the first place. It's the same reason why so many people leave these toxic relationships or these toxic work environments, but then they're still at their core more feeling more disconnected than ever. They're feeling restless or crunchy because that's still screaming at them. Addictions and numbing behaviors are a really good sign that there's something very, very deep at a fundamental level that's screaming out for love, for care, for healing. It usually comes down to one of these unmet soul needs. The first one that I want to talk about is freedom, the void of not feeling real freedom. Now, this one was huge for me in my own journey. At the time that I was doing a lot of drugs and drinking and wrecking my life with all that stuff, it was actually because I had so much potential that I wasn't using. So all of that potential that I wasn't using, I drank it away. I didn't feel free to fully express myself and who I really was. I would always live for what I thought other people wanted me to be. So that's a huge one. I felt imprisoned in that. The next void missing is authentic connection. So you've heard the term, the opposite of addiction is connection. I know I've said that before. I know a lot of others have said that because it's so true when you really, really feel into that. One of these voids that's missing is that deep connection. And maybe it's a deep connection to yourself, to others in your life, to the divine, to life itself. So sometimes the substance or the behavior is used to create this artificial sense of connection in some way. The next one is disempowerment. This is where you don't feel safe owning your true power in some way. The void whispers to you, you're not safe to own your strength. So you're always looking to other people to give you permission outside of yourself to validate you because somewhere along the way, you have abandoned yourself and your own ability to empower yourself. So much starts shifting for people once they really understand this on a deep level. The other void that a lot of people are missing is the void of sacred pleasure. So that's when in your mind you feel guilty or for experiencing pleasure. You feel guilt or shame for experiencing pleasure. So these are when you are feeling like you have to be doing something, or you link how much you get done with your self-worth, when in actuality, you could be enjoying your life. You could be having so much pleasure, whether that's just on a basic human life level every day, whether that's sexual. But if you feel guilty having pleasure, sometimes that substance or addictive behavior comes in to let you just at least feel that, a fleeting sense of that. So that's why people hang on to it, even if it leads to horrific things, because they don't know how to experience that without it. That was a huge one for me as well on my journey. When I got so when I got sober, I actually had to teach myself how to enjoy doing absolutely nothing because at that point I could not just sit with myself. It was too painful, it was too noisy. I had to learn my true worth and really feel that to my core and know that I didn't have to constantly work a lot to be worth a damn. And that was really challenging, but it was so worth doing that inner work. White knuckling often comes from a punishment mindset in some way. Like you think, well, I really should get sober, or I really should quit smoking, or I should this, I should that. But the problem is that it comes from guilt and shame and the stock that is built in that shame just eggs on more and more of the addiction. So you get caught in these really disgusting cycles that you just feel trapped in because you're not doing it from that sense of, I am honoring my soul. I deserve to have a good life that is not clouded by all of these addictions and all of the consequences of that, or diminished by self destructive behaviors. But first, you need to know that you are worth that at your core. You need to know that you're worth it and that you're doing it for you. And only before it can ever be successful, you have to realize that some way. So that is square one. So, how do you actually fill these voids so you can start gaining some traction and live the life you love? So, the first way is you need to find a way to transmute instead of suppress. So, really get real with yourself here and ask yourself, what energy is this addiction giving to my life in a good way? Because there are positive aspects to it, or else you wouldn't do it. So, for example, for drinking, the positive energy that it gives to your life is maybe that you feel more loose socially, or you feel a sense of relaxation or stress relief or a sense of belonging or connection. The key to this one is that you identify what energy that addiction is giving you, and then you find a higher vibrational version of meeting those needs. So maybe for this one, for a sense of relaxation or a sense of belonging that the alcohol brings to you temporarily, well, now you go to a breathwork cycle or you go to hot yoga in the evening. So you see how now you're still getting that connection, you're getting that sense of relaxation, but it's much more satisfying. You're getting those needs met physically, and you're feeling like you're part of this bigger whole. And I don't know what it is for you that that's going to be, but find something. Identify where that energy, where is the payoff in a good way, and then find a higher vibrational way to meet those needs that isn't going to knock you down further than where you were before, like alcohol and drugs. It's a more authentic experience of those needs being met. You also will need to rewire your entire nervous system. And I don't want this to scare you because it's really not as difficult as you might think. It also gets to be fun if you let it. And if you see it as it's going to be fun, it's going to be an adventure. It's so much easier than you think. And the thing to remember here is that addictions live in the body, right? Like you put the substance into your body or you feel that rush in your body. So it's going to be a body-based solution to this. So maybe you start by just dancing around in a really wild and vibrant way. Maybe you go for a walk, maybe you start running again, but you literally move that energy through and out of you. Or you go plunge in a bucket of ice, and I don't know what you like, but that's perfect. Whatever it is that is going to engage your body to move that energy out. You can use hypnosis to rewire cravings and create a whole different response in your mind and body. There's so many different ways to go about this, but what they all come down to is that you are literally interrupting that pattern every single time you notice it. That also takes commitment, though, because you have to commit to breaking that every time you notice it. You can't just decide to do it once and it's going to go away forever. When the change actually happens is when you decide that over and over and over and over again. And you create a new way and you do it every day in your life in those exact moments. And instead of fearing that emptiness of not having the addiction there, realize that it's just energy, it's just consciousness. It always was. The void is just energy. And instead of cursing it and just wanting it to go away, wishing it away, try actually dialoguing with it. Identify, what is this energy like? What does it want? What is it trying to tell me? Because I guarantee there's something. And shift your motivation of getting sober or quitting the addiction from a place of I have to do this or I really should do this to I get to do this. I get to meet myself for real. I get to show up for people I love. I get to move to where the light is. I get to meet new people that are better influences to my life. I get to have real connections now and not bar friends that forget who I even am by the next morning. So I hope that that was all very helpful for you. And I hope that you got some nuggets of truth and hope and wisdom in there. There's always hope, no matter where you're at right now. And remember, you're not giving up a crutch. You are gaining the world. You are gaining your authentic self and the beauty and the amazingness that comes with that. And if you need more help with this, let me know down in the comments. Let's talk. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you'd like. Share the video out with someone who is in this place right now, who maybe is moving towards this direction, who really has a desire to have a better experience without these addictions. It's so possible. I fully believe in you. You can do this, and just remember you are never alone. You are loved. You got this. We'll talk soon. Bye.